What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast, formerly known as the Fit Cook Life podcast, now known as the RealCamBlack podcast. We're changing things up. This is going to be an awesome time. Really looking forward to it. Sitting to my left is Omar. He's going to help kind of navigate things. Y'all already know, if you're familiar with the podcast, you already know that I end up rambling. And it was always Ronnie's job to kind of pull me back in, right? And then when Ronnie was rambling, I could pull him back in. So I need that buffer. So that is why Omar is here. Now, with that, we're in a very public place. So you're going to see me, my ADD, it's pulling me to the windows and doors that we have going on behind us. Behind the camera, we have Full Bird Tuna.
Hey.
Let's go.
He is a wizard when it comes to electronics and everything like that. So it's a beautiful thing. It's kind of all match made in heaven. And we are going to get this thing started. So, formerly known as the Fit Cook Life podcast. If you're listening and you've been subscribed for a while, you know this podcast is about fitness, nutrition, mindset, right? We're going to stay in that realm. However, a lot of leadership and influence is also going to be talked about in this show. One of the biggest things, I think, in today's world is that in order to determine whether or not someone knows anything or not, we ask how many followers do they have on social media. And I think that's wrong. I think there's a lot of smart people out there that don't believe in the world of social media. And there's a lot of people out there in the world who have a lot of followers and don't know jack shit. So I want to bring in people that I see as either huge influence in the community that they're in, have a business that is something I believe in, or our coaches are going to talk about their version of programming and nutrition or working out, and their influence into their clients or their teams or whoever it is. So currently we're on deployment in the land of unknown, but we're currently on deployment. So these first few episodes are going to be limited to a lot of military people. With that, that's not what this podcast is going to be about. It's literally the people that are surrounding me at the time. I'm going to try, once we get out of this deployment, we get back. I already have a few interviews lined up as well. So you're going to be expecting a lot more variety and range. We're going to bring some men on this podcast. We're going to bring some women on this podcast. I think the women thing that we were discussing this is a huge part of the world that we're currently in. It's lacking. And we're around women, but it's very difficult for me as a man to tell a woman what to do when I'm not living that life, right? I don't go through the same bodily things that they go through. I go through different struggles, stuff like that. So we're going to get a big intake into that world as well, and get a lot of wide variety of knowledge. Okay, so diving into it, as you well know, if you go back, if you want to listen to my thoughts on nutrition, my thoughts on weight loss mindset, my thoughts on nutrition, working out, everything like that, go back to episode 1. There's 67 episodes of just flow through those. They're pretty easy listens. You're going to hear me and Ronnie discussing that. But the sponsorships that are back then might not be sponsorships of now. Things are evolving and changing. Why pick up the podcast here and now, right? I've had a lot of people ask me that as of late. A lot of things have happened since the last time I picked up a camera and started talking to it. I think the biggest thing has been, one, y'all heard Ronnie went solo for a little while on the podcast while I was gone for training. When I got back, I kind of went over a little bit of glimpse of what I went through when it came to joining the military, and why I joined and what I went through at OSIP, which is the infantry school for the Army. If you want to hear that story, again, go back and listen to those. Since then, deployments, civilian career has changed. Ronnie has passed away since then as well. And then when I came on this deployment, I saw a huge lack of knowledge when it came to the fitness and nutrition world. And I always resulted back to, hey, go listen to my podcast. And so I kind of want to bring a little bit of what I've been going through into this podcast. I know that they're tired of hearing me vent and complain and fix problems that are happening in the environment that we're in when it comes to working out and nutrition. And so I want to give kind of like, instead of reiterating myself over and over again, put it out there and let people listen to it. Bring in stories of other people that have gone through different trials and tribulations, and then similar ones. Whether it's a huge weight loss journey, whether it's a troubled childhood, whether it's addiction or drugs, whatever it is, and being able to battle through that and become the version of who they are today, which is like a totally super healthy person and living a life of like what we've always discussed, right? Great fitness, great nutrition, leading to a great mindset. So, with that, our sponsorships, again, as of right now, sponsorships is Lululemon, Baseball Barbecue, Mobot Nation, and Woof Caps. So some of those you've known, some of those you don't. Lululemon, they've always been my number one. They've sticked with me this whole time. There's going to be a link in the description below, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watching on YouTube. That's right. If you're listening, we've got it on YouTube right now. Hello, everybody. We're going to... What are you laughing at, bro? We're going to have that link in the description below. So if you want to go shop something, there's some pretty cool stuff out there. I've been rocking a fanny pack almost like every day. It's essential for what we're doing now. We have to carry a lot of stuff. And I don't want to have that stuff in my pockets all the time. But with that, love Lululemon. No longer with one store, but hey, we're all online, shop online, get it delivered to the store, get it tailored to you, and take it home. That's the best way to do it. It's the way I do it now. Baseball Barbecue, they've been a huge sponsor of the Unofficial Health State, my Mississippi State Instagram social media platform. For them, they make barbecue essentials. So if you're a dude and you love to grill out, like they're phenomenal. They make a lot of cool Mississippi State stuff. So that's kind of the big point that I have. Everything from cooking boards and cutting boards to, your grill sets and everything. Mobot Nation, now that's one that y'all are familiar with. Foam rolling water bottles, a 2-in-1, right? Stay hydrated and roll it out, right? That's always been the motto that I've used for them. So go check it out. Woof Caps, they're newer on my Unofficial Health State Instagram. You'll see that on my personal Instagram. Speaking of social media, a lot of things have changed since the last time I picked up a camera. I no longer use social media as my main source of income, so I don't post as much anymore. You used to follow me at RealCamBlack. If you Google me, you'll still see photos of me online. But my Instagram now is more of a personal Instagram. It's for me just to document the highlights of my life, things I want to keep track of, dates and times of the cool things that I've been able to do, especially with the military, especially with my loved ones at home. But you will be able to still go to RealCamBlack.com and have all of the things there. That'll be up and running this evening, actually. So that's going to be revamped and everything like that. We might come out with some clothing lines or some cool things like that. We got time to kill here at the time. So those types of things are going to be fun to do. So go check that out at any time. But diving right into what I want this podcast to be about. So Omar, the biggest thing that I want to do is kind of in this podcast go over what our current schedule's like and what brought us to going, hey man, you need to revamp the podcast. You need to get back on there. You need to start retelling this stuff again. And I think it kind of started with square one, right? Where no one knew who I was. I started to tell kind of a little glimpse of my story. People never... and hey, this is pretty cool. No one can ever guess my age. I'm 32 years old. Starting to get gray hairs in. For those of you on YouTube, you can zoom in and see that. But I think the funniest part is the fact that they're like, "You were fat," and that part there, pulling up old pictures and then showing that, like, hey, no, and then I got into bodybuilding and things like that. It's pretty cool. And I'm having to tell that story a lot. And for those of you that are just tuning in, basically what happened was baseball career ended, lost a child, was going through a bad relationship with my ex-wife. I got way overweight. I was 250 pounds. I started to drop a lot of weight, got into fitness. Shout out to Jeff Nippard, Christian Guzman, the OGs of the YouTube world. I really looked up to them. Watched all of their stuff. I got into a deep dive into fitness and food, and what had turned into that was me losing about 100 pounds. Finished going through my divorce and was like, hey, I'm going to start doing bodybuilding shows, right? That's when the love of working out and the love of figuring out my body when it came, my relationship with food became huge. I wanted to make it a career path. One thing that I always grew up hearing was, if you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life. And that's so true. Doing this, walking around and recording myself and meeting new people every single day, it wasn't work for me. I'll go to bed at I get off work at like 10 o'clock at night, go to bed at midnight, wake up at 4 a.m. for a class, and felt fine doing it. But sustainability, the long term of starting a new family or doing anything like that, the longevity of that just didn't make sense to me. So I switched my career path. But still doing this is more of my passion than anything else. And so when you hear my story, what was it that made you think like, hey, you need to get that podcast going again, dude?
I think for me, it was how fake it sounded, to be honest, because, when we first met, it was all like, okay, this is one of the boys now, and then got to know you, telling me your story, and it's like, I then, this, that, and the other, it's like, what? You were 250 pounds? Why are you lying to me? And he started like pulling receipts and pictures and videos and, just telling all these stories. And after some time, it was like, he's not lying about who he is. And, you have proof to show it, And I think the podcast is such a important part of it because you're able to tell your story and be passionate about what you're passionate about.
Right.
And, the reason why you stopped it, you needed time to heal and figure your things out. And being here and seeing all the deficiencies that can happen in life as a whole, but more in like leadership positions and how some people may claim they're knowledgeable in some areas, but they're really not. It makes you think, it makes you argue, it makes you bring up good conversations. And I don't know, I think this is a perfect place. We got a bunch of free time, not really, but it's good to get away from work every now and then. So I think the podcast is a great call to do it here.
Yeah, it's definitely, because it is a passion of mine. You know, as of late, there was a lot of deficiencies that I saw in the military, and specifically like our company. They know how I feel about it. I don't really care. There's a lot of deficiencies, and for it to be my passion, you know, my biggest thing was no one needs, the one thing that people started to tell me was, you need to have people pay you for this. I had multiple people been like, no, you need to have people pay you for this. And I was like, no. Why am I going to gatekeep happiness, you know, self-happiness for my own wallet? I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. My civilian career has got me in a place now where I can turn back to my passion and be like, yo, I don't need this to live, you know? I don't need to gatekeep information. When I see somebody, every time they get stressed out, chug peanut butter, you know what I mean? And eat 14 of them a day. Mm-hmm. I don't need, you know, when I see someone crushing a whole bag of Doritos, or, you know, a crap ton of little Snickers bars, you know, that there's a problem here, and people don't understand their relationship with sugars and fats and their taste buds. And then on top of that, seeing the deficiencies within the Army of how they're doing their, you know, their fitness to the lowest level. People getting injured and re-injured and re-injured on the same exact injury over and over again until they just fizzle out and get out. No one looks forward to working out during the day. And it's like, the workout's fun. You know, it should be fun. It should be fun because it's fun when you progress. Mm-hmm. It's not fun when it's painful. Now, is some of the progression painful? Yeah. When y'all forced me, so we just got back from a mission, and there was a gym there, and any military base in the world, you'll have your clubs, right? You go to a gym, you got the 1,000-pound club, you got the 500-pound club, 600-pound club, 700, all the way up into the 2000s, okay? And you guys have seen me for a long time, a lot of you. I don't work out to be able to lift everything in the gym. My whole thing has always been, I want to work out so I can look good naked, or I can feel like I'm happy with myself. When I look good in the mirror to myself, I'm happy with myself. So I've never worked out in that way. That's just never been my thing. Powerlifting has never been my thing. It's always been Malik's thing. You know, doing competitions for fitness. That was always Ronnie's thing. For me, it was, I'm going to look good so I can step on stage and you flash the bright lights at me and I look good. That was always my thing. It's when y'all, and by y'all I mean my team. So I'm a team leader in the military now, and the biggest thing was my dudes that were under me. They said, "Hey, you're gonna go for the 1,000-pound club," and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah." And what that means is you're going to do a squat, a deadlift, and a bench, and it's all going to equal over 1,000 pounds. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. And when y'all pushed me for that, it showed that was fun. So getting geared up and going towards it, I think I set myself out for like 2 weeks. And we started, I was like, all right, y'all are going to see me change the way that I'm training and how I'm eating and all that. And I did it. I ended up getting over 1,000 pounds. But that's the way that it should be. It should be fun. Now, was it painful when I was squatting over 350 pounds? Absolutely not. But when I stood up with it and re-racked it and looked at everybody, and everybody was like, yeah, that was the fun part, right? It was camaraderie, it was teamwork, it was everybody was involved. And I think that right there, we should do that for everybody. Not the guy that can work out, that knows how to work out. That it should be for each individual soldier or each individual person that you're working out with, and motivating them to get better. So whether it's you're experienced and you have a brand new person that comes in and joins your team, let's say for the military, but also like non-military, let's say that you've got an overweight cousin that's coming to you because you worked out and you're pretty good at fitness and they want to start working out with you. Make it fun for them. Make it fun for that individual. They're coming in brand new, no matter where they're at, whether they're scrawny and small or they're overweight and hating themselves. It doesn't matter where they're at. Make it fun for them and they'll stay in it for longer. And I think that was something that I saw in the military that made no sense to me, of why people were dreading working out. When my guys, we would go to the gym together every day. We go and tackle an obstacle course, whatever the case may be, and we go and we have fun with it. We're smart about it. I never once made or forced anybody to go work out. In fact, that was the first thing I would say is, hey, I'm not forcing you to go with me. Like, you do not have to go with me. And then all of a sudden everybody's waking up at the same time I am before the workday starts to go, and then everybody at the end of the workday is going back again. And it changed our culture of what we do, and it kind of, using them as the perfect examples, put me in a position to be able to kind of throw some weight around at the higher levels and be like, hey, I see some deficiencies, we need to change some things. But that right there was one of the things that once Omar and some of the other guys were like, yo, you need to bring back the podcast, bro. You need to bring back the podcast. That right there showed, okay, yeah, we need to bring back the podcast. But we also need to talk about leadership and influence. Because if someone's looking at you as a goal, right? So if someone's looking at you and they're like, man, I just want to be in the shape you're in. And you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not in shape. I'm not the end all be all. I'm still trying to get better. Mm-hmm. They're seeing you are influencing them. So I've seen it firsthand where if I go and pick up a cheesecake, one of my guys is going to go and think it's okay to grab a cheesecake. If I skip a workout, he's going to skip that workout. Mm-hmm. And the same thing goes on the civilian side. When I was working out with some of my dudes that I used to train, and if I skipped the workout, they would skip it. If I said, hey, let's go out and party, they'd go out and party. When you start to have that type of influence, you need to realize that influence brings leadership. And you need to have that leadership and start developing those leadership qualities that are healthy in order to bring back that influence back on them to keep them in the right trajectory. Whether it's keeping everything fun and progression, or making the right choices and bringing that and saying, hey, we're gonna work out together. We're gonna not go out with everybody tonight. We're gonna go to the gym instead. Hey, we're gonna, like, I have a sweet tooth too. Like, I love Oreos, right? But I'm not gonna eat those. We got a goal that we've set, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna go to, we're gonna go on this girls trip. We're gonna go on this guys trip. We're gonna go to the beach together, and doing it that way and influencing them to make the healthier, right choices. And I think that's huge. But no, I'm excited about the podcast. I wanted to do a solo one. I wanted to bring on Omar and Tuna. One, kind of testing out the facility, but also, I wanted to get some things out of the way. one thing I will say, it's kind of the big thing in the room, is that Ronnie's passing really hit me hard. I wouldn't be the man that I am today without him. And he taught me a lot. I like to think that I taught him a lot as well. But when you're spending every day with somebody, they become a huge focal point in your life. And without him, I wouldn't have this podcast at all. The podcast was originally even like his idea to do. We would go to his apartment every single day in order to record it. I'm a great people person. He taught me how to program. He taught me how to break things down. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful for him. And thankful to have had him in my life the time that I had him. I miss him every single day. And I know doing this podcast, it's going to bring a lot of those feelings back. But again, progression, right? As I'm going through it, y'all know, I love to document things because I think that, there's no one person's story that no one else goes through, right? I'm dealing with loss. There's 1,000 other people out there that are dealing with loss. I dealt with a divorce. There's 1,000 other people out there dealing with a divorce. And if one person can get something out of watching me go through it and come out better on the other side or stronger on the other side, or watching me develop through it, then it's worth it. So, I'm excited about the podcast. I'm excited to have you guys on with me. And it's going to be a fun time. Our next episode, we already have a guest lined up, which is pretty cool. We'll be getting a female perspective of the fitness world. She's not a certified personal trainer, but she does have incredible influence and leadership. And she uses the leadership that the Army's given her to influence those under her and to get better. And I think that's super cool. So that's going to be fun. We also have a few other people lined up as well right after that. So we're going to start pumping these things out. It's kind of our getaway. And so again, a passion, right? So subscribe to the podcast. Give us a rating. This is what I'm going to ask. Give us a 5-star rating, and then in the comment you can tell us how much we suck. Okay? If we suck, give us a 5-star rating. But then you can let me know how. I'm going to read them. You can let me know how I need to change things. You give me a 1-star rating, I'm not going to read it. How about that? So, but do that. Let us know in the comments how you feel on YouTube. Like, subscribe, go back, watch some of my older stuff. Again, if you want to know about my personal ideas on fitness, relationship with food, how to program your workouts, things like that, go back to episode 1. Otherwise, if you are continuing on, and you've subscribed for a while, we're grateful for you. Thank you. Look forward to this next chapter of life with you. And we're going to stop the recording for the podcast here, but on YouTube, I got something else for you. All right? Peace. Okay, YouTube. Listen, I'm going to need your help for a second. Okay? I need you to like, subscribe, and share it with a bunch of people. Okay? I want this thing to grow. If you have somebody you want me to interview and you're in the Atlanta area, you can definitely hit me up. Okay? There's going to be a contact us page on RealCamBlack.com, and you can go on there, contact me, and I'll interview you. I'm wanting to get a wide variety of people, like I said early on in this podcast, a wide variety of people into this thing. So I need your help to do it. Okay? If you know me, if you seriously know me and you're like, yo, Cam, like, Goofy dude. Yo, hit me up. What's up? You know somebody that would be interesting. They got a cool story. They were fat once they got fit. They were small, now they're strong. Whatever it is, you know those great people that need to share their story. Hit me up. I'd love to talk to them. And who better to do it than me, right? Because you know me. Anyway, all right, guys. Until next time, again, like, subscribe, comment below. Give me a name of who you want me to interview next. And until the next podcast, this is Coach Cam and Omar. And Big Tuna behind the camera.
What's up?
Later.